Welcome everybody, members and guests to our 5th digital AGM, and also welcome to anyone who is watching this on YouTube after today. So here is the agenda for the day. I'm hoping we can get through all this in about 45 minutes or so, and everybody's on mute. I'm pleased to stay around afterwards for a bit of an informal chat about anything you like. If there are any questions or any other business that you want to raise, then please put those in the chat pane. We'll pick them up under any other business or after we finish the AGM. You'll note that the agenda starts with an important charity update, which I'm going to cover in headline terms first, and then pick up in more detail after we've covered the more straightforward parts of the AGM. So, members who have been around for a few years will have noticed that each year I make a request for help for people to help the group. We've reached a critical point for the group, and that help request is more important than before. We need more people to be trustees for the group. We have trustees to keep us going through the current year, which is from May the 1st this year through to 30th of April 2025. Before we get to our 2025 AGM, we need to have in place more trustees so that we can keep the charity going. Specifically, we need one person to come forward and offer to be the treasurer, and another person to offer to come forward to be the secretary. Whilst we're looking at this, we need to get a succession plan in place for all the trustees so that when the next trustee decides to stand down, we can deal with it more efficiently. Without new people coming forward, there is every likelihood that we will have to close the charity. Now, I hope that it doesn't come to this and that we can work out a way to continue to provide the friendly, supportive community which you are all members of. So, on to usual matters. As I've done in recent years, before we get to the agenda, I'm going to give the quick 3-slide reminder of what HSP is and what the group does for people who are early in their HSP journeys. I know that there are many here who know this very well, and it's the same that I have said in the last few years. So, HSP stands for Hereditary Spastic Paraplegia, which is an umbrella term. There are over 80 different types of HSP. It is a rare disease, and that means that knowledge of it amongst healthcare professionals is low. The prevalence of HSP is around 3 in 100,000 people. The main symptom affecting pretty much everyone is spasticity or weakness in the legs, which deteriorates over time as the spine degrades and the messages between the brain and the muscles are disrupted. There is great variation between individuals in the age at which HSP starts, in the speed of progression of HSP, and how much it affects individuals. Other symptoms frequently occurring are bladder urgency and frequency, pain, and fatigue. The effects of HSP can vary from day to day with individuals, and there is a long list of other symptoms which can affect people. Given that HSP is rare, getting a diagnosis can be challenging. There are genetic tests available for quite a few types of HSP, but not all types. The early symptoms of HSP are similar to other conditions, and the progression of HSP in an individual is very hard to predict. Many people with HSP often feel isolated, lonely, or depressed. Information about HSP is often hard to find, and some people find it hard to accept that they have this progressive condition. Right now, there are no cures for HSP. All of the available treatments are around symptom management. But it is worth remembering that there are great teams of researchers working on HSP all over the world, increasing understanding and looking for potential cures. So that's about HSP, and a quick reminder of the group is encapsulated neatly in our mission statement, which says, people with hereditary spastic paraplegia, their families and their carers are at the heart of everything that we do. Our information and support helps improve the quality of life for those affected by HSP. Our friendly support community helps with sharing ideas and reducing feelings of isolation. We support research into HSP, including developing treatments and improving understanding. So the support group is a registered charity, and all the work that is done for the support group is done on a voluntary basis. Our main area is providing support to those with HSP, which we do by sharing stories and information, and by awarding grants to members to help purchase equipment. There are three main ways that we create our community: by meetings, through our newsletter, and on our website. You'll hear more about our website later, but our newsletter, Newslink, comes out a couple of times a year, and we're always keen to hear about members' activities, stories, and opinions. You can download these from our website. Meetings can be any size, from 2 people meeting up in the pub, through to our largest event, this one, the AGM. Meetings can have presentations or just be an informal chat. We're keeping a mix of meetings on Zoom and face-to-face so that we can satisfy those members who prefer to meet face-to-face and at the same time be as open and accessible to other people who find it difficult to travel. And the talk of meetings allows me to move seamlessly onto our AGM and into our first committee report, which is the Meetings Committee. So the Meetings Committee is the group of people who organise our meetings. They give support to meeting organisers and look into new meeting locations. We've been pleased that our face-to-face meetings are positively received, but attendances at some are lower than they were before COVID. We've had a new face-to-face meeting near Leeds. Ian's monthly nationwide Zoom meetings remain popular, and we have continued Zoom meetings for Scotland, Wales, and SPG 11 and SPG 15 families. Our revised welcome pack is being used for ideas and support. We're still looking for help here, particularly hosts for our meetings of parents of children with HSP in Norwich, in Glasgow, and in other areas not yet served. Next, we turn to the Research Committee. It's been a quiet year. The group is contributing to the EuroHSP SPG4 project, and I'll come on to that in a moment. We have also agreed to fund a project in Cambridge. Similar to recent years, we had another student, Delilah, write an essay on HSP for the 2023 Student Voice Award, and I'm hoping that she will talk to the group about this. We have made another contribution to the most recent EuroHSP sponsored award given at the Tom Varlig Symposium. The 2024 award went to a Netherlands team looking at gait adaptability training, showing that such training can improve people's balance and gait. And there are further details about this on the EuroHSP website. You may recall that we've agreed funding to support 2 students researching into HSP. At Exeter, overall progress with the research is good. They are gathering together lots of their research findings ready for publication soon, and will let you know when that happens. Their research has also gained more information about another new HSP gene, and the biomarker blood test for HSP progresses well. The challenges in the project means that they are still not quite ready for clinical testing of this. At Sheffield, the person undertaking the studentship has been affected by health conditions and has had to step away from this project, so there is a need for this to be replanned. I now come to the EuroHSP SPG4 project. We received we received an application for funding from EuroHSP to contribute to their new SPG4 project, and we are contributing to funding for at least the first 2 years of the project. We partly funded the previous work, with Cinzia Rinaldo giving a presentation to us last summer about the work that they were doing. The project seeks to restore the level of spastin in people. Spastin is the protein affected by SPG4, which is the most common type of HSP in the world. The first year of the project has just finished, and you can find out lots of details on the EuroHSP website. Medication options are being tested to find those which prevent the degradation of spastin. This is drug repurposing, and access to the favoured medication is being negotiated at the moment. Plans have also been formed for a study to demonstrate that this medication is safe. More progress is expected in the second year, which is shortly underway. Next up is the website committee. It's just a short update here. There haven't been any additional pages added to the website, but we have simplified the donations process. You can see a set of bullet points there which describe what the committee gets up to, which is making sure that the website works and that things are running nicely. So then we move on to membership committee. Now, unfortunately, Mitesh cannot be with us today. You can see that we've got an updated map on the screen showing that we have members in the majority of counties in England, with fewer members in Scotland and Wales. The number of active members is slightly down on this time last year, although the chase on membership renewals was also a little bit late this year, so that number might go up. And this is also a gentle reminder for people who haven't yet renewed their membership and want to continue to please pay your membership fees. If you are having problems paying and wish to continue your membership, then please get in touch with us. We're also showing how many new members there have been in each year, with between 25 and 50 new members each year for the last 4 years. And this is another reminder why I introduce what HSP is at the start of each AGM. Lastly, this slide shows that we have 135 honorary members in the group, who are a range of researchers and healthcare professionals around the world with an interest in HSP. And next, we move on to fundraising. So as usual, the key message is to give a big thank you to everybody who has supported the group throughout the year with donations of all sorts and different fundraising activities. On the screen, you can see 3 examples of fundraising from last year. Mark Anderson ran 50 miles and raised over £1,200. Mark ran on behalf of Nick Garrett, who is one of Mark's good friends, and Nick has benefited from our work in the past few years. Jason Main walked to Everest Base Camp, raising over $2,700 for the group. He reached base camp on the 3rd of March this year, which was a once-in-a-lifetime experience for him. Also shown is Sean Bullock, who ran the Derby Ramathon, which is a half marathon. He ran in honour of his wife, Kelly, who lives with HSP, and he also wanted to raise awareness, as so few people have heard of it, and he's raised over £900 for the group. There are also many, many others who have raised money doing a whole range of different things, and we thank them all. There are other ways that you can raise money for the group. You can use easy fundraising to get small donations to the group when you shop online at no extra cost to yourselves. We've still got the usual routes through Just Giving and PayPal, and there are a whole host of other ideas on our website. We are happy to support any fundraising ideas which people have, and we can put your fundraising up on our social media channels. Please let us know. There is one other major fundraising activity which goes on, which is the Potato Pants Festival, organised by Ian Bennett. The festival is back again this year, but it is in the evening and indoors, and Ian tells me that it will still contain the usual interest and excitement as the outdoor festivals. Now I can see there's a big fat typo on my screen because the number 4 shouldn't be there. Anyway, you can see the poster there, and the headline act is an all-female Queen tribute act, which are called Kings, which feels appropriate. They are supported by Carly Varley and Honey Kick, which is what it should stay instead of the number 4 on screen. This will be an excellent event, and I recommend that you go. Tickets are £12, and you should look for more details on Facebook. This page gives the statistics for our YouTube channel, which shows that we've had over 9,000 views of our videos to date, with the AGM presentations being the most popular. Last year, many members said that having the AGM available on YouTube was important, and so we will continue to do this, and I will be uploading the video of this AGM in the next few days. Here is a quick reminder of our social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, and LinkedIn. The numbers in brackets are the increase in followers for each channel from last year, showing that our Facebook page, which has been around the longest, is the most popular. Now, this is where I come back to the topic at the top of the agenda. As has been around for a few years, there is a page on our website which gives details of the many different ways that people can help the group. Our key focus for the current year are the 4 things shown in the middle of the page. As has been said at the AGM for the last few years, Dave wishes to stand down as secretary, and this year is the 3rd of a 3-year term which Dave is currently in, which means he would be up for election next year if he were to choose to stand again. The eagle-eyed amongst you will note that the voting form for this year included a specific call for somebody to come forward to be the secretary, and one member expressed an interest in this, who I will get back to soon. That form did not mention treasurer, and there has been a last-minute change here, which I will come back to when we get to the elections part of the AGM, but we similarly need to find a new treasurer. For both secretary and treasurer, we need somebody to help us who we have confidence in. We would prefer to have some time to get to know you, to provide whatever support and guidance is needed during a transition period, and be able to put you forward for election as trustees at the AGM in 2025. And that means that these decisions would need to be made by May to June next year. Many of you will also know that Ian has stood down as editor of our Newslink newsletter. We also need somebody to come forward and be the editor for this. Until we can find a new editor, there will not be any more newsletters. I know that these are a valuable, well-received part of our community, and it would be wonderful for someone to offer to take this role on. Similarly, with Secretary and Treasurer, we'd be happy to provide as much support and transition as is needed so that the task becomes as easy as possible. The other bullet shown is about general succession for trustees. All the charities activities are done on a voluntary basis, and new trustees bring new ideas and freshness to the group. At some point in the future, I will need to stand down as chair, and over time the other trustees will also need to stand down. And without a through flow of new trustees, we run the risk of getting to this crisis point again, but with different names or roles. Our constitution requires us to have people filling 4 roles: chair, secretary, treasurer, and membership secretary. As it says at the bottom of this slide, without new people willing to take on these roles, we run the risk of needing to close the charity or otherwise slim down how we run so that it can be done with fewer roles. People do not have to have HSP to fill these roles. They just need 2 things: a passion to be able to help, and dedication to fulfilling the responsibility of the role. Please get in touch with us to help us carry on supporting you. Now, on to a similar topic. I know that many people with disabilities and health conditions prefer to go about their lives not making a fuss and generally getting on with things quietly. As people with a rare disease, we have a powerful voice and we should use it. Here is an easy step which you can take to use your voice without anyone else really knowing about it. If you go to the NHS website and look at conditions which overlap with HSP, you can find details of relevant charities at the bottom of pages. And I put extracts from the Charcot-Marie Tooth and multiple sclerosis pages in the bottom right of the screen. There is no link to our group from the NHS HSP page. If you scroll to the bottom, you can give feedback and make a suggestion about the website. So we would be delighted if you could say that you have HSP, that you find the support group giving useful advice to you, and you think that there should be a link to our group from the HSP page on the NHS site. Hopefully, when they next review this page, we will have established enough of a need for them to include a link to our website. Here are a few more opportunities to use your voice. You will note that we do not have any awards this year. We need people to tell us who they think the award should go to. This is a wonderful way for you to let us know who is making a difference to you. We have 2 awards, one for fundraising and one for raising awareness of HSP. We would be very pleased to hear about people who are making a difference and recognize them through our awards. I've had a small amount of correspondence from members who are disappointed that the AGM is via Zoom again this year. This is mostly my decision. I'm having a very busy year outside of my support group activities, and it has been easier for me to organise this than a face-to-face meeting. Nevertheless, last year, about 2/3 of members said they preferred virtual AGMs, but I recognise that we ought to have face-to-face ones, provided we can keep a virtual connection to support the majority of members wanting a virtual one. So please come forwards and help us find an appropriate venue. Lastly, a general reminder that if you do not like what we are doing, please let us know what we should be doing differently. We would love to hear your ideas about what we should be doing. There are many ways of getting in touch: email, post, phone, or through social media messaging. Now, that is a quick run through of our activities for the last year and the key areas where we need more help. And this brings us back onto the agenda and to some of the more formal aspects of the AGM. Next up is our secretary report, and for this I'm going to hand over to Dave Harris, our secretary. Are you there, Dave?
Just switch the microphone on, so can you hear me?
Yes, please
okay,
carry on.
Fine. Fairly simple secretary's report, really, covered by the bullets you can see in front of you. Trustees have held 5 meetings in the year, all via Zoom. With us being all 70 or 100 miles from each other, this is very effective for us to be able to do, so we'll probably continue that. In terms of grants, we've awarded grants to 8 members during that financial year, and we have approved 1 new research grant during the year. Shanike was appointed treasurer at our 2023 AGM, and as you've heard, he's going to be stepping down at this meeting due to pressure of work. Also, Emily Bell, another trustee, has stood down during May. So we've had 2 trustees step down in fairly rapid succession, which is partially what has caused the crisis that Adam is alluding to. We're getting to the stage where we do need to be in a position where we do have succession plans to cope with this sort of situation. In terms of the website, we've received more than 70 inquiries during the year from different individuals for quite a wide range of different requests of the group. It's been very good that we've been able to answer these in ways that are helpful to these individuals, even though they're not members. So I think that's a really good resource for us. That's all I have to report for this year, Adam.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Dave. That is super. And next, I'm going to hand over to Shanike, who is our treasurer, for his report. Shanike, are you there?
I'm there, yeah. Thank you, Adam. So we had
Thank you.
total income in the last year. For this is the year May 2023 to 30th of April 2024 of 30,000. So as you can see, made up of the largest amount charitable activities of just under 16,000, donations and legacies of just under 11,000, and subscriptions of just under 5,000. And then our expenses. So we had total expenditure in the year of just under 39,000. The largest expenditure was a 30,000 grant to Sheffield University for research. And then the other expenses, the grants to members of just under 5,000, fundraising expenses, and other expenditure. And Adam, if you go to the next slide. So we had a balance at the end of the last year of 125,000 and a balance at the end of this year of 117,000. So we have a significant amount of cash still in the bank to fund our ongoing activities. Yeah, that's all. Thank you,
Lovely.
Adam.
Thank you very much, Shanike. Okay, so from that, we move on to our voting results. We've gone for the same arrangements that we have done in the last few years, making our voting accessible through more members using both postal and electronic voting. Overall, 35 members cast votes, which is lower than we've had in the last couple of years, at around 11% of membership. There is still a silent majority of members who have chosen not to vote. This is another opportunity for you to use your voice and let us know if you're doing what you think we should. A few members chose to abstain from some of the votes, but for the minutes and the accounts, I'm pleased to report that these were approved unanimously. And we had all but one person voting for the trustee report, so that also gets approved. Now, in recent years, we've used this point to present our awards, but as there haven't been any nominations, we move on to trustee elections. So, the first thing I'm going to say is repeating the messaging that I have already said for the last time. So during the year, Emily stood down as a trustee, and very recently, Shanaka has said that he's unable to continue being our treasurer beyond today's AGM. As I've said, treasurer is one of our key must-have roles, so we were at risk of closing the charity today. However, I am very pleased to announce that our previous treasurer, John Mason, has kindly offered to return to his role for one more year so that we can continue for now. So, for the current year, the need for the current year is clear. We need more people to become trustees to help run the group. There were 2 members who said they were willing to help run the group, and I will be in touch with them shortly to talk about this. We need to formulate a general plan for succession so that we can also identify people who will be suitable and willing to be our next chair, and in the fullness of time, our next membership secretary. Having new trustees for the group also helps keep ideas fresh and momentum going. The trustees meet 5 times a year for a couple of hours, and there is also the AGM. On top of this, there are completing whatever actions are agreed and reaching decisions on matters arising. So for a final time, if we are unable to find new people to take on these roles in the next few months, we may have to close the charity. Recognizing that we fulfill the needs of our members, we are having a trustee meeting in the next month or so to discuss the potential of what this closure might look like. So that might be carrying on after a restructure, running a slimmed down version of our activities, or we could consider merging with another related charity. We will also discuss how the valuable funds in our accounts would be best distributed to bring benefits to people with HSP. So, this I have already covered, but I will say now thank you. So I will say thank you to Shanaka for being our treasurer for the last year, and I also thank Emily for her contributions for the last 2 years. I am pleased that these 2 people have come forward to help the group, and I'm disappointed that they have felt the need to stand down. And in the last couple of weeks, John Mason said he would be willing to return to the role of trustee and treasurer for 1 year. The trustees discussed his offer, appointed him as a trustee, and agrees that he becomes the treasurer from the AGM today. This all happened after we had finalized the AGM paperwork, so unfortunately you were not able to vote for John in this year's elections. So I thank John for making this offer and noting that Sonia is supporting John behind the scenes, and I look forward to working with them again. This year, Mike is the only trustee coming to the end of his 3-year term. He decided he was happy to be put forward for re-election, and as you can see, he has been re-elected. In terms of people using their voice, Mike is a very good example, and I thank Mike for bringing lots of different matters to the attention of trustees. Where am I? Yes, so Mike's contributions help the group stay on course supporting with people with HSP, and I'm looking forward to carrying on working with Mike. Now, Mike, you're here today. Would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, okay. Thanks very much, everybody, for voting for me. I'm in the space of people being involved. I noticed that there aren't a lot of people that have voted, let alone voted for me. And I think we're only voting for each other, and there isn't somebody else that does the job for you all the time. It's all up to individuals to see what they can do, and sometimes the job's nothing like what they think it is. But thank you for voting for me. I'm basically concerned more or less with other groups and political and the NHS meetings, sort of thing, meeting people and getting NHS known around about the powers that be. End of dialogue.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Mike. So this slide shows the trustees for this year. We've got John, Dave, Mike, Mitesh, and Juan working with me. I thank all the trustees for their excellent work, and I look forward to us finding a way to keep the group moving forwards together over the coming years. So we are now coming to the end of the AGM. Before I close with a few dates for your diary, I will just ask if there is any other business which members need to raise. All right, let me just have a quick glance at the chat. No, there is nothing in the chat. Lovely. Does anybody else have anything that they wish to raise at the AGM?
I've got one thing to say. We've got a room, it's near Glasgow rather than in Glasgow. I'm told it's about 30 or 40 miles away, but we haven't got anybody to organise the meeting in that room.
Yep. Thank you, Mike. Yes. Oh, Hilary.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I meant to put something in the chat earlier, but was sort of busy with the screens and the options disappeared off the bottom of my screen. So sorry. Completely take on board what we're saying about the need for more trustees and so on in order for us to continue. Assuming we're able to continue, I'm keen that we perhaps revisit the question of the name of the group to try and make it clear that it's national and that it supports research and make it feel more substantial than a small group of people sort of helping, supporting each other. Obviously the support is vital, but to broaden it out from that, make it clear from our name that that's the case. I know we voted on it a few years ago, but perhaps if we were able to have more discussion at meetings and so on around the pros and cons and how that works, I think that's worth reconsidering when the opportunity arises.
Lovely, super.
I see that there's already a company called HSP UK, and there's a company called HSP Group as well. But maybe foundation.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a really good point, Hilary. Thank you. Yeah, as I say, we've got a trustee meeting coming up in a month or so where we're talking about all of these issues. So I think bringing the name of the group onto that agenda is an excellent idea. Thank you.
Sorry, Adam, can I just ask quickly about face-to-face meetings? What was the percentage you said of those who wanted face-to-face and those who were?
I only asked the question about the AGM. And so last year, the result was 2/3 said virtual AGM and 1/3 said face-to-face AGM. But again, it was a relatively small proportion of members that voted.
Right.
So, because I think last year it was about a quarter of members voted. And so that quarter of members was a 1/3, 2/3 split.
Okay. Would there be any way of doing a sort of a survey? You're very good at those, so just to check how many people might, just to get maybe a bigger, truer picture.
No, that's a really nice idea. Yeah, thanks, Penny. Let me make a note of that.
Thank you, Adam. And at least we're doing what people want. Thank you.
Yes, of course, and that's what we're trying to do.
Thank you.
Can I just say, there's a question in the chat from Dorothy. Is the NHS form available UK-wide or just English? I'm assuming Dorothy's asking because she's in Scotland. The NHS is a national thing, England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. It's just that it's a devolved political matter and the Scottish Parliament deals with the NHS differently, but the NHS is nationwide basically. I'm assuming you don't want it in Gaelic.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Hilary again.
To Rosalind's question about an Norwich meeting, we're looking for someone to run the meeting. The lady who used to run it in her home is no longer able to, and we've been searching for somebody to take it over. So that's where we stand at present. So the nearest meeting at the moment is the meeting near Colchester, and all being well, subject to health issues, there'll be meetings in sort of Bedfordshire, Hitchin, that sort of area, when they can be arranged. But as you've been saying, Adam, it does come down to people. Yeah,
I mean, and essentially, if somebody is half-minded to have a go, then we can just arrange to meet at a place at a time, and it can be you and 1 or 2 other people that are known from the group, and we can advertise that as an initial meeting. And if people are coming and that turns out to work successfully, then that's the biggest hurdle overcome, is getting that first meeting sorted out. So if anyone is half a mind to have a go at organising a meeting, like we had our new one up in Leeds this year, that was really good. And if that continues, then that's a new meeting set up with a new organizer, and that's worked relatively well. So yeah, we're happy to help.
Meetings don't have to be formal with speakers and so on.
Yeah.
Some of them are just a question of meeting in a pub.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, some meetings are just people meeting up for a chat, and other meetings are where people have presentations and talkers and things, and having a mix of both is good.
And it depends on how much time the meeting organizer is able to devote to it. So
yeah,
again,
quite.
it comes back to the help.
Yeah. And
Lancashire, Joan's asking about a meeting in Lancashire. Estelle started the meeting in Burnley. She's now moved house, and she is hoping to set up a meeting in the Morecambe Lancaster area.
Yeah. Susie puts a note in about no members being shown in Northern Ireland. I noted that, which is why I changed the way I phrased describing that map, because I know you're in Northern Ireland, and I don't know why your county wasn't coloured in, Susie. So apologies for that.
Well, we do have members in Lincolnshire. That's not covered in either.
Oh, was it? Okay, fine. So there is some issue with that map that I don't know. So Mitesh said, here's the map, and I popped it on the screen, and I didn't realise that we had, well, other than noting there were no counties coloured in Northern Ireland, we'll pick that up another time. Right. Now, I think that might conclude our any other business. So I will move on. Oops, screen next. So we have a provisional date for our AGM in 2025, Saturday, the 12th of July. The location is still to be determined. If we're able to sort out a face-to-face AGM, we're going to need to make a booking for that venue in the next few months. So please let us know if you can help with sorting that out. Then I will say that this year has been particularly difficult to organise talks for the AGM, and that's principally down to my own life being particularly busy outside my support group time. I've been in touch with 9 different people. 2 of them said yes, but we haven't agreed any dates yet. So should those come to fruition, we'll be in touch by email to let you know about dates and topics. In the meantime, there are other relevant videos that you could watch on YouTube. The Spastic Paraplegia Foundation, which is the support group for people with HSP and PLS in the United States, have all of their 2024 conference videos on their YouTube channel, and there are many things that you can watch there. Also, the EuroHSP team have got a YouTube channel, and there are some details of their SPG4 project, which is in progress. And noting that we have a steady intake of new members to our group, there's a reminder that most of our recent AGM presentations are on our own YouTube channel, including ones covering everyday aspects of living with HSP. So there's mindfulness, there's compassion, there's benefits, there's choosing mobility aids, and there's dealing with falls. And there are also several playlists that you could watch. And there's one other important date for your diary. On Wednesday at 7 o'clock, the Paralympics start in Paris. So this is a fabulous showcase of people being their best and showing the rest of the world that people with disabilities and health conditions can perform at top level. So I am looking forward to seeing the competition between athletes. In addition to a general plug for Team GB, there are several athletes from around the world with HSP, and I'm going to be keeping an eye out on those. I've done a fairly quick search for athletes with HSP, and those that I have found are shown here. So if anyone finds any more Paralympic athletes with HSP, then please let me know. And that brings us to the end of our AGM. So I'd like to thank everybody here for taking the time to be a part of this, and to everyone who makes a contribution to the group in any way or to HSP. So Thank you very much, everybody.